So first question, and is related to the niche of this mastermind, which is conscious leaders. What are a couple of ways where you are clearly a conscious leader? And in essence, what does that mean to you?
Well, I feel like my role is to support conscious leaders in being healthy in their bodies so that they can do what they were born to do. And so in a way, I'm leading by showing people, leaders, how to engage nature to support their health. And I work, one-on-one with specific health problems as well. But my big message has been about reconnecting to nature. There's a lot of movement in the medical world with regenerative medicine and what technology can we use and what's the latest and what's the newest superfood and this and that. And I just want to go back to what our ancestors experienced. Now, of course, we can benefit from the technology. We can benefit if we're looking at it consciously and apply conscious tools that have always been there. But our ancestors were connected to nature and they were healthy because of that. And we have gotten away from nature and as a society. And in order for us to lead, or anybody to lead, that connection with nature is crucial because it not only has the blueprint for your own health, it's got the blueprint for where humanity is going and realizing our full potential. So that's why leaders can, when they reconnect with nature, be even a better leader.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Not sure I answered everything, but it's really important, I think.
I agree. I agree both. I don't know if you answered totally, but I agree what you share is super powerful. I want to mention an experience that I have had myself, and it was with you, an experience maybe of what working with you can look like. I remember once I have had the worst headache in my life. I normally don't have, but that headache had lasted for a few days already. And maybe especially because I wasn't used to it, it was really annoying and uh, affecting my productivity and my enjoyment. And I remember I think it was a 30-minute or less conversation with you. You were thousands of kilometers away. I was in Tarragona, Spain, and you were where you are, I think, in Cottonwood in Arizona. And my headache was gone in less than 30 minutes just because you asked me a couple of questions that helped me release that. So I love that because it's connected to nature, but I guess more in the sense of consciousness or presence and another human being being able to be that plug into nature, but also because it's connected to online and how you are both bringing nature closer even through online technology and also doing part of what you were talking about before of doing this transition into the online world. I have had an direct experience and it was mind-blowing, and I don't think I will never forget it.
And this brings up a really good point about nature. Sometimes we think about, oh, nature's walking on the beach or, being in the forest, but there is a dynamic, alive quality to nature, which is also in us. And to discover and live from our true nature is really what healing is all about. That's, it's where we've neglected doing that, or we weren't aware of doing that, or life presented us with another challenge. And to then become more of who we really are, to express our true nature, I consider that part of nature is our own essence. And the ancient Greeks called it ether. It was the vital essence of the gods. It was almost like what the gods breathed, but it was this divine essence, which humans, mortals have too, because we are part of nature and nature is alive and dynamic.
That's beautiful. So it's not, maybe I'm jumping here. Anyway, it seems like the nature can be more a reminder of our true nature, but it's only nature within us what really heals us.
It's the healing power in nature. When we align with natural processes, when we go with them, first of all, I think our society has negated or forgotten or simply just overridden what natural processes are, because one natural process is balance and harmony. And so when we center ourselves, we're able to get balanced in our life. And so many people now are imbalanced because there's so many things they're trying to juggle, and family, job, finances, relationships, all the little details of life. They're trying to balance, they're trying to juggle it. And by going to the center, that's where we can harmonize things and see their proper priority. And I even forgot what question I was answering.
Awesome.
It's so important to connect with well, first of all, to understand how nature works, because that's how we work. And then once we can understand it, when something is happening, we can accompany that process in order to allow the wisdom of that process to complete so that we are healed. So my definition of healing is becoming whole or becoming more of who we are. It's the restoration of health through owning things that we have disowned, but also when we're being challenged to be more, to step up to that challenge. And if you don't have another question right now, I've got a great story about that to illustrate this.
Well, I have many questions, but I would love to hear your story. So please go ahead, and maybe I ask them later, or maybe there will be new ones.
So many times we think that anything we're experiencing on the physical level has to have a physical cause. There was one time in my life many, many years ago when I was having excruciating sciatic pain. So have you had this kind of pain where it starts in your butt and it's really burning and then it shoots down the leg? For me, I had this for week after week. There was no position where I could be comfortable, because it would burn when I was sitting, it would burn when I was standing, and it just, it's one of those things you want to just go and just punch it out or something to get rid of it. And I was seeing even a naturopathic doctor at that time. And we did all these modalities, acupuncture, ultrasound, manipulation, all different things to relieve the sciatic pain. And nothing was relieving it. However, at the same time, this same naturopathic doctor had challenged me to apply and attend naturopathic medical school. And I was thinking about it. I was weighing the pros and cons, because before that, I had never had a debt, and I was going to be taking on a student debt. And, it was 4 years of my life, and, all these big things. I wasn't even sure that I could go back and learn all this technical stuff, because I had been out of school 20 years or something. And so I was going back and forth about, should I totally change my life and go to naturopathic school, or just stay comfortable as I am? And it turns out that was the crucial thing that led to my healing. Because when I decided to make the choice to go to naturopathic school, within 3 days, no other intervention, that sciatic pain was gone, absolutely gone. There was no other intervention. It was simply me making that decision I was thinking that this sciatic pain, which was terrible, it was excruciating, had a physical cause, and we're trying to figure out, what was the physical cause, but it was really this mental, emotional, spiritual dilemma where I was trying to go forward, but maybe I should be comfortable and hold back, So there was this tension in the other realms that was manifesting in my body. And that was where the healing came about. By going with what the universe, nature was asking me to do, which was to accept the challenge to go ahead in my life, to be more, to go to naturopathic school so I could become a naturopathic doctor. By accepting that, that's where the healing came. And we don't always look at things that way. And, not everything's like that, but usually all aspects of our being are affected in any ailment that we have. It can be on the physical, but it could be emotional, mental, spiritual as well. And it's as a whole.
Mm. That's amazing. That's bringing up a story of mine about a time when this bladder issue that I do have still, but it was really, really bad at some point, like really uncomfortable and more strong symptoms. And I went into a process of understanding it more. And at the end, it's summarizing a lot, but I discovered, and since then it's been a blessing, that it's when I take it as a reminder to come back to my center, to be aligned instead of reactive or anxious or believing subtly that something that is not here right now is going to bring me fulfillment or achievement. To come back to my center, and then that tension is massively gone. Sometimes still I need to go to the toilet, but the problem is gone to a massive degree. So
isn't that such a gift that we get these signals from our body or from different things in our life of just the signals are reminders to let go, to go with the process, and then we become more of who we really are.
Absolutely. And that leads me, it's beautiful because you asked me if I had questions. I had two. They are really cool, but they were quite answered through your story. So one of the questions is, why do you do what you do? Besides that, you are here now and you are doing it, and you've been doing it for years, so you just keep doing it. But what is the why behind it? And in a way, you have shared it. Still, I think there can be more of a story of what is your massive spiritual purpose connection with this way of serving leaders. But also, I want to reflect on my other question was on leadership and health. And what I read from what you said is that so at the end, a health is only possible when we take full responsibility, or I will say leadership on that arena of our life. Like, yes, we can rely on the support of a doctor, but at the end, it's only support. It's our own responsibility. And maybe not all of us need to, like you, feel so called to become a natural doctor, but we definitely need to be masterful enough in listening to our symptoms and turning that into wisdom and into more alignment. And so that's the link that I'm seeing based on what I hear from you on leadership and health. And I'm in that process, and I'm loving. I love the sense of freedom that there is when I'm like, okay, it's not anymore about finding the perfect person. The perfect person is only going to help me find the right attitude in myself around my health and my fitness and my nutrition, etc. So I love that link, and I love to hear any comments from you, and also then go to what is the deep why of why you are so committed, so committed to do this and to put so much love, dedication, and time into this.
Well, I love what you say about leaders needing to take responsibility for leadership in this part of their lives, because I see in my experience so many people who want to just, either their health is okay, so they're not paying attention to it, or they just want to take something or ignore it. But this is one other place where we can rise to be leaders, as far as our health can be showing us some place where we're being challenged in life. And so by accepting the bigger challenge in life, health improves. And it may take, some physical support too. But I love that. Yeah, this may be one area in a leader's life that they're not stepping up with their leadership. And so by being aware of health as also another area to take responsibility and lead in, wow, that makes things more complete. And, I'm all for that, more wholeness. There's always more.
And I would say even one more thing about the body is that it's such a leverage, because it is obviously the connection between the inner world and the outer world. Like without this body, we cannot really totally affect this outer world. So in this community, we are here to gain more inner and outer success and to support each other to do that. We need to, it's imperative to listen to the body and to learn to have a relationship with our body that leads us to more power inside and outside. The body is like the leverage, the super trampoline to fully live in this world and have the impact that we came here to have.
Yeah, it's such a gift. And when we honor it, we can honor it by understanding how we work and going with it. I talk about accompanying the healing power of nature, that, if you get a scratch, you don't have to consciously put energy into, okay, you got to heal now, and you got to do this, and you got to bring white blood cells there, and you got to, there's wisdom in our body that knows how to heal. And when it's not happening, it's because there are obstacles that we're preventing, or else we're doing something in our life which is going against that natural process. One of my big soapboxes is about fever. Fever is a natural process where the immune system is amped up and it does its job. And so we need to support fever in terms of what it's doing for infection or inflammation, and not allow it to be, a low-grade chronic inflammation. Anyway, that's one of my soapboxes, and I'm sure I'll have a book or something about that.
I love what you said about the obstacles, that it heals itself. So when it's not happening, is that there is it correct to say like a mental or a spiritual obstacle that there is where we need to increase our awareness or consciousness so that the obstacle can be removed and the healing process can speed up?
Yeah, you can see it on the mental, spiritual level, but it also could be evident in your lifestyle. So maybe if you're eating poorly, your body's not getting enough of the nutrients in order to complete healing. So it can be in our lifestyle, or if we're not active enough. I mean, a lot of people just want to bring it down to, diet and exercise, but it's so much more than that as far as what we can do in our lifestyle. And that's a whole nother ball of wax about reconnecting to nature, because those are elements that we can bring back into our lifestyle that have been lost and will exponentially increase our health.
So would it be correct to say that if our lifestyle is not supporting our health, is really that we are not truly listening to our alignment, or to live our life as purposefully or as responsibly as we could?
Well, we're either not listening or we're not aware of what our lifestyle habits are doing to us. Because our modern society is not necessarily supportive in what it's telling us to do in our lifestyle. It's like, okay, do more, earn more, consume more, party more. Society is telling us certain things which go contrary to what the healing power of nature is telling us. So it's a matter of, I mean, this can be really deep because I find these tendencies in myself too, even though I've been steeped in the ideas of natural medicine for a long time. So by being aware of it is the first thing. And that's one of my big passions is education, because unless you're aware of it first and understand how it works, how can you choose for it? So yeah, how we're living our life has a big impact on our health. And and what's cool is that it's dynamic. It always changes because there's different times of year, so there's different environmental conditions. As we get older, we're in different stages of life, and so we have different needs and different desires. And so health is something that's always changing, and it's a fun challenge to ride the waves and see what's next and be curious about what it is that supports our health.
Sanakumari, what is the most exciting part of your work? What is some of the results that you see in your clients or the effect that your work with them has that is the most inspiring to you? And why?
What's the most inspiring is when somebody gets their energy back or gets clarity of mind or is not held back by pain, so they can do what they really want to do in their day and in their life. All of us have a purpose, whether we're really dialed into it or not. I think conscious leaders are really dialed into their purpose. And sometimes there's just something in their, in our emotions or in our physical that is keeping us from fully playing and fully fulfilling that purpose. And it's so gratifying for me to see somebody out of pain or having more energy, and then they can do what they really want to do. So that's what really lights me up is because I know I'm supporting their purpose by helping them to feel good in their body. And that is so gratifying because I feel like I have a leveraged impact on the world by when they're fulfilling their purpose, then they go out and impact that many more people. So it's the ripple effect.
Mm-hmm. I love what you are saying because first, if we are more comfortable or healthy or vital, everything else goes better. Like it's like when there is a little stone in your shoe and it's affecting everything, the mood, the productivity, the focus, and when finally you realize, oh my god, it's only a stone, and you take it out and it's like, ah. And now it's like the world it's glowing and everything it's easier and smoother and there is more enthusiasm and more eagerness and more creativity. Everything flows better. So it's so important. But also I want to mention this because I think especially for people like me who've been lucky enough to not have many health issues. I have had some, but not many. It's not like a big part of that it's in my mind. I know for people who are actually ill, it's more obvious. I need to do something about it. But it's not only for people who are heavily ill, it's for anyone who knows they could do better, right? So it's about more responsibility and more leadership and more in this area where you can really be in your optimal state, so everything else in your life can be positively, as you said, a leverage affecting everything else.
Yeah, because then we can be proper vessels for spirit. We can allow the energy, the inspiration to come through clearly.
And related to another one of the main tags of this community being not only conscious leaders now in health as well as much as we feel is our responsibility, also it's the side of investing, which of course normally we relate it more to invest in assets that are going to bring passive income to us. But this is our super asset. So if we invest in having be as healthy as possible. By the way, I want to relate that to one gift that you mentioned to me privately that you will offer the community so they can dig deeper in your content. And so they can receive a lot by having invested their time and their attention in their health through this interview with you. But also I would love to, beside that gift, what is your take on investing, consciously investing, and how do you see that related to the process of healing or bringing the healthiest version of us?
Yeah. Time is the original non-renewable resource. Where we put our attention and choose to spend our time is the thing that we have control over, but so often we give over that control by demands on the outside. So investing in yourself by taking the time to, whatever it takes, to eat well, to exercise, to meditate, to connect with nature, integrating this in our lifestyle, that's the biggest investment that I think is important. How you spend your time. And it's also how we reward ourselves. It's like, how are you going to spend your time? You want to have that recreation, that pleasure time. And by being conscious of how you invest your time in yourself, as well as in what's important to you, that's going to have a big payoff in quality of life and enjoyment in life. And it all comes down to where you put your attention and what you choose. Mm-hmm. So I think, the definition of a conscious leader is the consciousness. So being aware and making the choices.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Responsibility.
So maybe I didn't take it in the way that, yeah, maybe I didn't take it in the way you wanted it. But, time is the thing that we run out of at the end of our lives. It's the thing that everybody has the same amount of. There's not time rich and time poor people. We're all equal in the amount of time we have. Mm-hmm. So the quality of our life is how we invest that time, how we choose to spend it, but investing it in ourselves, in things that support our health, that support our purpose, like I said, has a big payoff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I love it. It may seem kind of obvious, like health and relationships and finances, and there are a few topics that are like the main ones to invest because they affect everything else. But even if that's obvious, I love how even right now I'm giving more attention, investing more attention in my health, and seeing how it's an endless opportunity to gain more power in the most positive way and to gain more resources or activate more resources in order to have better quality and more gains in everything that it's important to me.
Yeah, because everything that happens to us is a gift. I really believe that, and that's my experience. So everything that's going on in our health, whether it's a bruise or, a cold or a more serious illness, it's a gift to be more aware. And how wonderful. Yeah, we can spend the time to actually open that gift, be present to it, and meet the challenge.
Okay, so speaking about gift, don't escape that question. Where is that gift that you told me you had for us?
I've got this little booklet called Beyond Prescriptions, How and Why You Really Heal. And if you go to healingpowerofnaturewithin.com, should I put it in the chat, or where is it someplace people can see it?
Sure, put it in the in the chat. Healingpowerofnature.com. That's a beautiful
No,
domain as well.
healingpowerofnaturewithin.com.
Okay, perfect.
Healingpowerofnaturewithin.com.
And we'll put it also.
Then you can that leads to you to where you can where I'll there's an autoresponder where you can get my little book. Now, because we're experiencing this delightful Mercury retrograde, all the features of the book aren't quite online. It's good information, but it's promoted as a track a book, and it doesn't have a tracking number right now, but I will catch up with you with that when it's available. But go ahead to healingpowerofnaturewithin.com, put in your information, and I'll send you this little booklet. The story that I told you initially is in there, but there's so many other eye-opening stories about how we really heal. It's not how we expect most of the time. And there's a lot of questions to self-reflect about, where in your life can you heal more? Or can you be open to what life is asking for you?
Can you tell us one more of those stories that have been especially meaningful in your career? And I don't mean only as a professional, but as a human being, as an explorer of life.
Well, my mind goes to another sciatic story. It's like, okay, but it's kind of a mirror image, because a patient came in with sciatica and I did a physical modality. I did Bowen body work on her. But the way she responded to it, and what happened was that she got up from the table and her sciatic pain was gone. And a lot of people think, well, maybe it'll come back, and then she'll need another treatment. But what happened with her is that she used that opportunity to heal other areas of her life. She went home and left an abusive relationship. That made enough of a shift in her that she could do that. And that's where the real healing was. Mm-hmm. So in my story, it's like the mental, emotional was the key to the physical healing. Well, for her, the encounter with me and the physical healing was the key to her mental, emotional shift. In my view, it all shifts at the same time, but because we're living in time and space, it appears that one happens before the other. Mm-hmm. That was a profound thing for her, to leave an abusive relationship. And that was, she was experiencing that as her sciatic pain. And for me, that was profound, because she went ahead and learned that same modality, Bowen bodywork, so that she could help other people in the same way. And so for me, that was very gratifying and a good illustration of the point that because you have one symptom, for both of us, it was sciatica, it can have a multiple of causes, and it can shift through a multiple different kinds of interactions, or, there's different ways that the healing can come about.
I love what you said about that. It can, the order in this time-space reality can be either mental and emotional or spiritual, changing the physical, or the other way around, changing the physical, affecting everything else. And again, I think that's what makes the body such a leverage and such a key aspect of having a truly successful life in the inside and in the outside. And speaking about that, because we also speak here about investing in wealth, many of the people in this community are investors, if not almost everyone. And what is one experience that you have had where this healing process has affected the financial situation of someone, whether yourself or someone among your clients?
Well, I have a fairly long story about that for myself, but maybe I can give you the Cliff Notes version. And it was about the health of my dog. I had this dog that we were so connected. At one point, I noticed there was something wrong with him because, his belly was swollen. Well, it turns out that he had liver cancer, but it had a good prognosis if he had surgery. At that point in my business and my career, I was going, how am I going to pay for this? It's $4,000. How is he worth it? It's like I was faced with, this amount of money that I didn't even imagine, putting towards anything else in my life. I'm being, faced with the decision, okay, do I spend $4,000 for the possibility that my dog could get better for a few years or not? And then I realized, what is money for? If I can't save the life of my best friend, what is money for? Even if I don't have it, I had the resources to borrow it off a credit card. And that was a real wake-up call. It's like, if I don't have the money to do something I want to do for my best friend, then I better find out how to make that money. So my best friend had this big impact on my finances, is that after that, I hired a business coach and I learned how to make the money in order to do those things that were really important for me. So yes, I put the $4,000 on the surgery for my dog. He got better. He lived 4 years instead of the 2 years that they predicted. And he died happy at 17. He was a great companion. And what he did for me was wake me up to not just being comfortable in sort of making money, but actually focusing on my finances so that I could have the money to do the things that I wanted to do, and one of the first ones was to have the down payment to buy this house, so that I could be, for me, that represents a little bit of security for the future and ownership of my worth. So that's my little story about finances.
That's amazing because, sorry. Okay, I wanted to say that for me it's amazing because the way I read it, and I'm sure it's only one of the possibilities. I'm sure everyone here is reading it like every story. That's the beauty of stories in a different way. But I read it as taking full responsibility of what you really wanted in the relationship with your dog and his health or her health, and that being leadership, because it's actually owning what you want and moving in congruency and integrity in that direction, led you to also take more responsibility in leadership in your financial life, and that shifting and making it a truly abundant or way more abundant financial relationship. And that's the beauty. Everything in our life, especially the main things, they are connected. So if we face and do what it takes, what is necessary, what we feel is right in one area, that's going to affect everything else. Dr.
And
Cheryl,
so can I just wrap that up with saying what was so cool was I was being asked to step up in my life through my dog's health. And by meeting that challenge of, paying for his surgery, I stepped up in my life. So it might not be your own health that your, life is challenging you with. It could be the health of people around you.
I love it. I love it as well, because again, it brings us out of the box of what is health and how health can be about taking care of the health of someone else, but that bringing more health or balance and power and success in our own life. I love it. I love it. just as a reminder. The symptoms are a reminder to come back to alignment, to be more real, more honest, more in integrity. Love it. So I know you need to go. So I'm a little bit concerned because I know you have another session really soon. We are
Yes.
gonna definitely know more about you in healingpowerofnaturewithin.com, and we will be able to expand on this holistic awareness and responsibility on our health and leadership in our health and investing attention in it. Um, do you have time for one more question? Yes or no?
Certainly.
Yeah. Okay. Patty, I want you to ask one question, but I want you to type it. I don't want you to open that mic because it's not working today. So can you type it really quick, please? If you do have a question. If not, I do have one more question.
And
But
while
if you
she's
have a
typing
question,
that, let me say, when you go to healingpowerofnaturewithin.com and get my book Beyond Prescriptions, do take to heart the invitation in the beginning of the book to download my app. It's a free app. It's both on Android and Apple. And on the app, I have so many more resources about total health and how you can, rise to the challenges in your life by supporting your health.
wow, that's amazing. You have an app. That's been resourceful in for someone saying that is not plugged into the online world or not as much as you would like. You're way beyond most people
Yeah,
that I
I'm
know.
building the infrastructure. So build it and they will come, right?
Thank you very much.
I'm
for
inviting
doing that.
people into this world where I can help support you in your health, but and therefore expand what's happening in your life.
There is that question coming. I think I'm seeing Patty writing. Here it is. Okay. So I'll read it. Thank you very much, Patty. And the question is, when you say modality, do you also use NLP in your processes? I super appreciate knowing a shift in an aspect of life affects other aspects.
I have never studied NLP, that's neuro linguistic programming, although I'm a little bit familiar with it. Therefore, I don't use it consciously because I've never really deeply studied it.
So to expand on that and take advantage, leverage that question. Thank you, Patty, for it. Can you say, just name a few because I know it's too many, but a few of the main modalities that you use and a highlight of one of those that can be eye-opening for us. And with that, we'll let you go and keep on diving in your content in Healing Power of Nature within and your app.
I do a couple hands-on modalities, which can also be distance, Bowen body work, medical biomagnetic pairs. But the really shining modality is homeopathy, because I learned a form of homeopathy that's been practiced in Europe. And the striking thing is that using homeopathic remedies in a certain way, we're actually able to clear out our cells so that we can get a more optimal function of our cells, and that restores function of anything that's, of any organs or tissues or any illness. So homeopathy is a way of clearing the body to gain more function. And I can go into that so much more later.
Cool. We can also explore your website. I'm sure we'll find it also in your book. And we'll put it in the description. So if this is recorded, it's already somewhere around here. But last, before you go, what if you had to leave us with just one main idea that condenses what you have distilled in so many years? What is that main idea that you want us to stay with?
The universe is benevolent. You can experience that benevolence by taking anything that you're feeling, whether it's a scratch, a bruise, a cold, anything that you're encountering with your health, and asking, what is the gift here? What is here for me? What's the gift? That is the first step towards healing it.
Wow. I love that. I'll apply it for sure. And thank you very, very much for being with us, for giving us so much.
It's been my pleasure.
And we'll see you also in the permanent networking. See you.
Yes.